Hello, welcome back. We're going to begin 2.7. I hope you had a good 4 day break if you're seeing this now. If you're seeing this later, well, this message is to you. Hope you had a good break. Let's get started. So, we're going to do 2.7. A few of the content warning for this week's lesson is that we're going to be having some tough conversations that you may agree or disagree. But remember that these are stories of counter narratives, and it's the dehumanization of Native people. And it's not easy to learn about. I also want you to know that this lesson is supported and backed up by the Fair Education Act, which basically protects um, the histories that include people who have disabilities and members of the LGBTQ community. In no way, shape, or form am I forcing you to believe in something, but I do want you to come in with an open mind and, at the end of the day, come up with your own truth. So we have been discussing how Indigenous people have been impacted of histories of colonization. And one thing to note about is when colonization happened, Native Americans already had their own ways of life. And so our job is to our job is to question how their lives were affected when this happened. And so, what I want you to stop and question, you already did the do now. You should have done the do now before watching this video. I want you to think about, what do you think about a two spirit, and what does that mean to you? What is a two spirit? You should be writing this somewhere on your notes, maybe thinking about it. Two spirit refers to a person who identifies as having both masculine and feminine energy. So Native Americans always, Indigenous folks believe that there is a masculine and feminine energy, right? And it's all about balance. This term was actually created in 1991. And back during the time, pre-colonial times, they weren't known as two spirits. They had their own name for it. And two spirits, however, have lived in their societies for a very long time. So this isn't new. Another vocabulary we're going to have is homophobia, which is an irrational fear or hate of towards homosexuals, gay folks, queer people. And I want you to look at, I'm going to move my image. I want you to as you're looking at these slides, I want you to take a look at this chart. It is a chart that discusses the number of violent crimes or victimizations that people who are part of the LGBTQ community experience due to homophobia, right? If they're not boy or a girl, or if they're not straight, right? It's seen as an outsider. It's seen as, oh my gosh, you don't belong to us. You're weird. You're different. And yes, there are actually crimes. In fact, in San Jose, not in San Jose, in Campbell, I was looking at this post. Campbell, which is here in Santa Clara near San Jose, is about 15 minutes away driving, is one of the highest cities where trans folks, right, have experienced the most assaults. And that is very hard to believe. It's really sad. All right, next. The next word that we have is heterosexual privilege. And this pretty much means that people who are straight have more privilege than those who are gay, right? For example, marriage is one of them. And as you look at this map, same-sex marriage was banned in the Supreme Court. I'm sorry, same-sex marriage, if it were to be banned, these states in our country would be affected. And as you can see, we have a lot more reds, meaning that it would be banned, whereas the blues are they will still remain legal. Same-sex marriage is actually a new phenomenon here in the U.S. I believe Mexico also declared their country to finally have same-sex marriages to happen. So there you have it. All right. So a few of the reasons as to why we don't see how two spirit is no longer. I would not that it doesn't exist, but there was an impact with that is because of religion. There was a lot of conversion to Christianity and Catholicism, and in those religions, they say that man and woman should marry, and because of that, native folks had to assimilate in order to fit in, right? And you saw a lot of these assimilations happening in boarding schools, and we also saw it in the mission system in California, where folks were forced to be these be part of this religion, right? In the century before European colonizers arrived in what's now North America, the indigenous people currently referred to as two spirits. So here you go. This is an image of in 1886. And this is what a two spirit looked like back in the day. Not any different to nowadays, right? Native American two spirits people were male and female, and they combined activities that were both men and women did. And their status as a two spirit people was very respectful. They were in charge of medicine. They were in charge of like ensuring that maybe they were the peacemaker, so they were able to what's that word I'm looking for? They were able to like mediate problems, right? So the term two spirit came up in Canada actually because there was a offensive word that the French were using, and so Native folks decided that, hey, yes, we're different, but we deserve to be respected. So they came up with the term two spirit, right? And although two spirit is a community, each two spirit has a different contribution to their tribe, right? Finally, what people want them to know is that two spirit is not an identity. It's not what you call yourself as to say, yeah, I'm a two spirit. It's more of a community, and they wanted to create this to feel included. And it can get quite confusing, but what we want to know and what they want us to know about them is that they're here, they've been here, and before pre-colonial times, our two spirit folks were very, very important and still are, and they hold magical skills, and I think they make a great part of our community. And so with that being said, this whole idea of like having different genders, like now in our modern era, it may be new to us in the Western history, but before colonization, all these genders have existed, but they were erased because of colonization. And that is the impact we're seeing now, right? So it's our job to educate others who are not aware of this. And I think it's a powerful way of those who don't feel like they do belong because they've been here. They've been around us this entire time. So after this video, I hope you had a good introduction what a two spirit is, and you will be reading a short. You have two options to do your guided practice. You can do option one, do the reading about two spirits, or option two, watch a documentary about how um, a two spirit person um, experience horrible homophobia. Actually, a 16-year-old in here in the U.S. All right. All right. So that is all for today, and have a good day. Okay. If you have any questions, let me know. Bye.